I want to warmly welcome you to the second free annual IVF conference.
Behind every surrogacy journey is a woman who says, yes, I will carry this life for you.
The process of surrogacy is natural. The egg, the sperm is fused together to form an embryo. It is still the natural course of things, only that it is aided or assisted.
Before we judge, let us listen. Before we generalize, let us understand. And before we speak of surrogacy as a business, let us see it for what it can be, a profound expression of humanity.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a very loud applause, join me as I welcome the one and only Ini Edo.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for that resounding welcome. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me, Mrs. Olaronke. I beg to stand on existing protocol, and I think basically what I'm here to do today is to sort of share my story. Today, I stand before you with both gratitude and purpose. Gratitude for the miracle of life that surrogacy helped bring into mind. Purpose, to shed light on an often misunderstood journey and to advocate for a world where surrogacy is not seen as a baby factory, but as a deeply human, compassionate act of collaboration and hope. For years, I dreamt of becoming a mother, but life, as it often does, had its own plans. After countless trials, tears, and moments of deep questioning, I came to a point where I had to redefine what motherhood would really look like for me. That is when I opened my heart to surrogacy. It wasn't an easy decision, trust me, especially for someone like me who's a public figure. There were fears, there were doubts, there were the what ifs. But beyond all of that, there was also hope. Hope that somehow, somewhere, the child I had been longing for would find its way to me. Choosing surrogacy reflects a deep desire and commitment to becoming a parent, even when faced with medical or biological barriers. For many, the road to parenthood is linear. For others like me, it wins through unexpected turns. Medical struggles, emotional setbacks, dreams deferred. After years of trying, praying, grieving, surrogacy wasn't my first choice. It was my last hope. And through it, I've been given the greatest gift of all, a child. My child. The day I held my baby in my arms for the first time, everything else just faded away. The pain, the waiting, the questions, it all made sense. It was finally, I was a mother. Not because of how my child came into this world, but because of the love that now fills every corner of my life. But joy does not blind me to the ethical complexities surrounding surrogacy. I've seen the headlines. I've heard the criticism that surrogacy is exploitative, that it commodifies women's bodies, or that it turns children into product. These concerns are very valid, but I think they paint only a partial picture. Because behind the sensationalism are real people, women who choose to be surrogates out of empathy, agency, not coercion. Intended parents who are not seeking to buy a child, but to build a family. And children like mine who are born into this world born into this world not through transaction, but through love, sacrifice, and trust. For me, the journey was intimate and not transactional. The surrogate who carried my child was not a stranger from a nameless system. She was a woman with her own family, her own values, and her own dreams. She wasn't a vessel. I was involved every step of the way. Intended mothers are typically involved in parental care, prenatal care, medical decisions, emotional bonding during pregnancy, and even though they are not physically carrying this child, they sort of walk the journey together. So when people reduce surrogacy to being just a baby factory, I think they erase these layers of humanity. They overlook the safeguards, the ethics, the choice. They forget that love can take many forms, and sometimes the most profound acts of love come from someone who carries your child but doesn't raise them, someone who lends her body so another can cradle a future. That is why we need a new narrative. A narrative that champions ethical surrogacy, grounded in informed consent, legal protection, and mutual respect. A world where no woman is being exploited, but also where no family is ever denied hope simply because their path to parenthood looks different. Surrogacy is not perfect. It needs regulation, transparency, empathy, but it's not a factory. It's a bridge between despair and joy, between strangers who become families, between the impossible and the miraculous. Talking about regulation, I was happy to recently read in the news that the House of Representatives moved to ban commercial surrogacy in Nigeria and further proposed a jail term and 2 million fine on culprits. Other key provisions of the bill, apart from a ban on commercial surrogacy, are: 1, the agreements must be strictly altruistic. That is, no financial profit is involved except for reimbursing medical and pregnancy-related expenses. 2, explicit protection against coercion or forced surrogacy arrangements, amongst others. We need legal protection and clarity. The Nigerian law should recognize and protect the right of mothers through surrogacy, ensuring full legal parentage and avoiding court disputes. Surrogacy deserves respect, not stigma. It's a modern solution to infertility. Just like IVF or adoption, it should not be shamed or seen as less than traditional motherhood. Motherhood is more than biology. Raising, nurturing, and loving a child defines motherhood, not just childbirth. A surrogate may carry the baby, but intended mother gives the child a home and a life. Nothing gives me more joy than my child. Surrogacy gives me the greatest gift, but more importantly, it taught me that family isn't defined by biology or tradition. It's defined by love, sacrifice, and unwavering belief. As someone who has walked this path, I only ask, before we judge, let us listen. Before we generalize, let us understand. And before we speak of surrogacy as a business, let us see it for what it can be, a profound expression of humanity. To anyone out there walking a similar path, know this: there's no wrong way to becoming a parent. There's only your way and your story, no matter how different it looks. It's still it's beautiful and deeply yours, as long as you're within the laws. My journey to motherhood looked different. It was unconventional, it was complicated, but it was also courageous. It was filled with grace, with grit, and above all, with love. It didn't make me any less of a mother. If anything, it made me more aware of the power of faith, more attuned to the miracle of life, and more deeply connected to the idea that motherhood isn't just something you carry in your body. It is something that you carry in your soul. If you take nothing away from my story, please take this: that sometimes the path to your dream doesn't come in packages that you expect. But if you dare to trust the journey, even though messy, uncertain, heartbreaking paths, you just might find yourself holding a miracle you once thought was out of reach. I want to thank Mrs. Olaronke for this opportunity to tell my story, and I want to thank you all for having me. God bless.
You can do better with the applause. Thank you very much.
Jason.